and John retired, the post office was taken over by a different group. And in the paper, once we were down south, in the paper once, this is what was printed. This was put into the merchandiser. Someone wrote in, and they said, whatever happened to the caring, friendly, accommodating Manchester Post Office? We miss you, John, Helen, and Millie, wherever you are. The new people were a pain in the ass. In 1952, we had the third addition to our family, Paul Michael Ettinger. He had beautiful curls, and the day I took him down to the to the barber shop, and Helen didn't know it, and had those curls cut off, oh, I had tongue and cold shoulder for supper that night. This is Helen and her 3 children. Bill, 4 children actually. Bill Jr., Bill Sr., Helen with Paul on her lap, and Lynn off to the right. Helen and her 4 children. This is another picture of the 3 Ettinger children. Lenny on the left, Paul down front, and Bill off to the right. To Renton, Washington, to work. Helen wanted a portrait, so we had this portrait made of our family. It's myself to the left, Bill, of course Helen, Paul down front, and Lynn. As I said, this is Helen and her 4 children. This is the 3 grown-up children in Helen's life. Bill on the left, Lynn in the middle, and Paul on the outside. That's Wild Bill, Lynn, and Paul. Paul Michael Ettinger. Helen's 3 children. At Lynn's graduation, this shows 4 generations. We have Helen's mother, Ruth, Helen, then Lynn, and then Beth. This is at Beth's graduation. The 4 generations the 4 ladies. This is a picture taken at a wedding, and it was up at D Pacifics. And this is 3 generations here. We have Lynn on the left, Helen, and Beth. Lynn here, Lenny here, Helen, and Beth. Beth had a boyfriend with her then, but she hasn't got one now. That's the mother, the daughter, and the granddaughter. I'm around with these pictures, but I'm kind of doing this just to give you an idea of what this is. What Helen's entire brood, including her daughter-in-laws, her husband, her children, and her grandchildren, and her 2 daughter-in-laws. This is Helen's family. In 1968, Helen's father died. So that left her mother out in the country all alone. And knowing Helen, that wasn't to Helen's liking. Ruth decided she ought to live in a trailer. But Helen decided there was no place for her mother. She wanted her someplace where she could look after her. So Helen had me make an apartment, take the upstairs and make a living room in the front, and a little kitchenette in the back, and we could still use 2 of the bedrooms. And Ruth moved in. Now, Ruth was in her 70s then, and I thought, well, gosh, she'll be here for a couple of years, 3 or 4. She was here for 17 years. And Helen watched over her like someone would watch out for one of their children. She had her where she knew where she was, she worried about her, and she made sure that Ruth and her friends had a good time. She would take the friends, she would make sure they had her, always were entertained, and I think her mother can be darn thankful that her had a daughter like Helen. About in 1971, my father died, and I inherited the farm. And on the farm was ponds, and we built a cabin. In other words, we built a party house down there. Now Helen would take her mother and her friends, take them down and entertain them and make sure they had everything they wanted. And her friends loved to play cards. A picture in the cabin of Ruth and Beans Cooley and Margaret Wright. Helen would make sure that her mother had everything ready down to the pond, and those ladies, and they'd go down and they'd play cards, eat, and enjoy what my father had made. And Margaret Wright. Cabin at the pond. And this is a family gathering. Helen always had family gatherings. She made sure they had them. And this is the family around the cabin. She was great for entertaining. She'd have picnics. She'd have her class down there, her graduating class, her sewing club, all of our friends. She, on the spur of the moment, and Helen say, let's go down, let's call Marge and Ike, or let's everybody, and let's go down to the pond and have a good time. And we did. We would party. To show you Helen's makeup, this is our son Bill. Bill quit college, joined the Army, and spent a year in Vietnam. For the 1 year Bill was in Vietnam, his mother closed his bedroom door. Never opened it again until she heard from him in San Francisco that he was home. Those times in the past years, Helen loved to decorate her home. Now this is a picture at night. This one may not come up too good, but she always decorated her, she had wreaths, she had candles in all the windows, and her mother used to moan she had turned the gas. Here's another view of Helen's decorations. She knew how to decorate. You notice the candles in the windows. She had candles in all the windows. She had wreaths on all the porch. She had lights on all the bushes. Christmas, and my grandchildren say, Gramp, why don't you do that anymore? Well, I don't have the spirit, and I don't have Helen's ability to decorate. Taken from across the street of Helen's decorations at Christmas time. Of course, it's obvious with the snow on the ground. But this was Helen's home. She put a lot of hard work into that place. We did put a pool in the backyard, right behind the house with a deck. Here's Helen in the pool. She really loved her pool. She'd come home at noon while she was working in the post office. She'd have an hour off, and the first thing she'd do is jump right in the pool. And she had entertained her friends and her lady girlfriends. They were always there. I'd come home and they'd be having a party. God bless her, thank goodness she had parties. Parties at the pool. That's Helen. On the left, Ruthie. And Helen Harris, a friend of Ruthie's from Ballinsville. And you can tell it's the summertime. There'd be Helen, entertaining at the poolside. Ruthie and Helen Harris. 3 ladies in the pool, cooling off on a hot summer day.